Hey everybody, welcome back. My name's Amber Plaster and I am talking about The Last of Us on HBO. If you have not seen it, this is your spoiler warning. What are you doing? Get out of here. Save this video first so you can watch it afterwards, of course, obviously. I wanted to do a react series. I haven't done one of these in a while. I am a huge fan of The Last of Us by Naughty Dog. I have played through the first and the second game. If you are a fan of The Last of Us, I think this is a highly rewatchable episode. I think the name of it was In the Darkness, Look for the Light. And I thought that was a very hopeful attitude to have. And I'm guessing that the series is going to explore going into those darkness, those depths of despair and looking for the light. I honestly didn't have a lot of The Last of Us game number 1 fresh in my mind. I saw the logo for the fireflies and I was like, oh yeah, the fireflies! Oh yeah! The way that Ellie meets Joel in like a scuffle and Joel's quick reaction to put his boot on her pocket knife and she's like, asshole, like, I guess they like don't get along at the beginning, but that's really not how I saw it. I think they just react very honestly to the situation that they're in, and they're kind of similar. So I really enjoyed seeing Ellie getting to meet Joel, or at least this version of Ellie getting to meet this version of Joel, right? Because it's not the game, it is a different retelling of it. I really enjoy the casting choices. It is really good for me personally. I can see how some people might be disappointed that Bella Ramsey doesn't look like Ellie did in the game. She does look very different, but as I was watching the episode, I was like, wow, her hair is starting to look like her. Like, her voice sounds exactly like her. And then I started to just sort of accept her as Ellie. So yeah, she does look different. I can see how that would bother you, but I was already a fan of the actor, so it's just doing it for me. I am so sorry. I don't know why the airplanes are deciding to fly overhead while I am filming, but I am just going to keep going and we're just going to know the airplanes exist. I'm so sorry. That being said, if you are not an ongoing fan of The Last of Us, I still think that you will love this show. It is thrilling and it is deeply entertaining to watch. I actually was kind of surprised that I wasn't as scared as I thought I was going to be, because I do remember having a lot of very real fear while playing the game for the first time. There was a few surprising moments for me. They did, for the most part, match a lot of shots, like shot for shot, for the beginning of The Last of Us, which is, like most games, kind of a tutorial. So as the world is falling apart, you jump into this car. I feel like I spent so much time like learning the game in that car, and then like later you do like hop in and out of the car as you're fighting zombies, and it just like, I don't know, the homage to the video game was just, the car was perfect! Like, honestly, when Joel pulled up with his brother Tommy to pick up his daughter Sarah. I forgot about Sarah! I didn't watch the trailer because I was like, I know I love this story. I don't need to know anything else about it. I want it to like just surprise me. I knew I was gonna like it. So it did allow me to kind of forget about Sarah for a second. And then I saw Sarah and I was like, Sarah, oh no. I felt the fear that I would have felt if I was a kid being left alone in the middle of the night as all these things were happening and she couldn't find her dad. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, that's really scary. That's really she basically had the worst day ever. Kudos to this show because I'm already screaming at the television. I was like, girl, get out. Girl, run. Girl, it's time to go. Girl, it's time to go. Like, I was just so like as soon as she went over to the old lady's house, I was like already so uncomfortable and just like yelling at the screen. So creepy, so well done. That being said, one of the biggest jump scares in the game for me was when the zombie comes through the backyard through the glass door, and that changed quite a bit in the pilot. And that was actually the most surprising part for me, was that jump scare was actually a dog instead of a zombie trying to come in and kill Sarah. So I was still scared because it was a jump scare, but it was a very pleasant surprise that it was a dog that kind of wanted to look out for her, and was trying to tell her, like, something's wrong, as opposed to her neighbor who she trusted, who was now a zombie trying to kill her and come in through the house. Anyway, it was one of my favorite surprises that they changed it. It was still a jump scare, but it was like a happy jump scare because it was a dog. I just thought that was really well done. I also really enjoyed a lot of the details of reminding us what it was going to be like in the apocalypse. So I know they changed the beginning of the game to start in 2003 as opposed to 2013. There was a lot of creative choices for that, but I think mostly it was so that when they skipped ahead, the year was 2023, so that we could feel what it might be like in current day if the apocalypse had already happened. When Joel was talking to one of the guards post zombie apocalypse, I guess, he's, taken to surviving however he can, and so he's selling drugs to get what he needs to survive. And he was like, "Hey, I want that bag back." And he pointed to the little plastic Ziploc bag. And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's not like he can go to the store and exactly get another plastic bag. You would have to recycle everything. Everything would be so dirty." And I was just like, "Whoa, the details, so good." There wasn't really a lot of, I really don't have anything to complain about, honestly. I think my least favorite moment was just seeing his carelessness of just throwing that child's corpse in the fire. Like, another one, I was just like, ugh. I think that my favorite moment was actually had a lot to do with the actress that played Marlene, who turns out was the voice actress of the voice of Marlene in the game, which is really cool. I think it's so classy that they brought her back to reprise that role, and really lucky that, she looked like her. But yeah, Marlene, and meeting or giving more context to how Ellie got to know the Fireflies and Marlene, the head of the Fireflies, was really, really well done and very much appreciated on my end. Ellie is chained like a dog because they keep thinking she's going to turn into a zombie, and they keep monitoring her. They even give her a dog food bowl, and she kicks it at them, and they're like, "Okay, can you count from 1 to 10?" And she's just like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. She just she's so smart and she's so tough. And even from the very beginning when she's a kid, this is background on Ellie. She's just being just such a strong human, just being so strong. And so Marlene sits down with her and is like, basically, here's what's going to happen. It's like, if you're going to behave, Veronica, you need to talk to me. And I was like, Veronica! I honestly think my favorite part of the episode was Ellie not trusting anyone and being like, yeah, my name's Veronica. One of my favorite moments, I will say, was the grandma turning on Sarah halfway through the episode. And seeing that mushroom kind of come out of her mouth and then turn and suddenly race after her. And I was like, oh yeah, they're fast. After, they are slow and sick, and then there's a certain point where they become fast and they chase after you. It was I felt like the zombie was catching up with me. So well done. Towards the end of the episode, Marlene is, I guess, in a scuffle with her right-hand advisor. Someone was like, "Oh, don't give Ellie to Joel. We don't know Joel. Joel could hurt her. I'll take Ellie on this trip." And she was like, "You don't even have an ear." And she said it really fast too. There was a lot going on in the scene, and I was like, "What?" And she turns around, and it was the reveal that her advisor had gotten, I think, bit, or maybe an explosion took off her ear, and the reveal was just so good, and they didn't waste any time on it. It's I don't know, it was the equivalent of throwing away a joke in a comedy. I appreciated that they didn't give us time to figure it out. It was just revealed and then on to the next thing. And I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I would give it a 9. If 10 is perfection and 1 is I would never watch the show again, then I would give it a 9. There are a lot of ways that they could have done it, and they had a lot of benefit of having a really good script, a really good sound design. They brought back the same composer who composed the the mood and the score for the first two games, so that helped. They had an incredible cast, and they had the creator on board who had a vision and wasn't compromising that vision. So they had a lot of things going for them, but basically, I have no notes. Like, I have no criticism of this show. I can see if you don't like the casting for Ellie because she doesn't look like the girl in the video game. I understand that. It didn't bother me because I was a fan of Bella Ramsey, but like, I understand if you didn't like that, but for me, I have no notes. I really enjoy details in shows. I am very visually affected, and I just want to shout out the art department in this freaking show because I mean, maybe it was a little bit of nostalgia, but it was also a lot of appreciation for the adaptation of the game, where got to see the pink t-shirts that Tess and Ellie wore. The lighting looks very Naughty Dog, and I don't even know what that means. It just was very like on brand for its own self, and maybe it was because it was paying homage to the video game, but I loved seeing the details of the wrench and several bricks, although I don't think we've seen a handheld brick yet. I'm going to get excited when I do. We haven't seen the Molotov cocktails yet. We will. Even just seeing the yellow school buses, I was just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Seeing the backpacks with like the green canvas jackets, like just everything looked so iconic to me because I just remember looking at it so much in the game. I do think that it's probably going to be a meme. Ellie's reaction to Joel just pummeling the guard to protect Ellie, basically, because she threw a knife in the guard, and the guard was going to shoot her, and he had a flashback to when I think it's really cool they showed the flashback to when he was helpless. Sarah, his daughter's ankle was broken. They couldn't run. She literally couldn't run. He was at that guard's mercy, and he was like, nope, not losing another daughter. Nope. Like, or maybe not a daughter, but like a little girl. He was just like, I am not letting this moment happen to me twice. And so I think that the concept of a fate worse than death that they talk about in the episode was losing a daughter twice or losing a child twice. And that's why he really just looked so hateful and went off and like beat this guard to death. And we see Bella's face of like, no one's really ever taken responsibility for her like that before. And also she's had to fight by herself for a really long time. So something else that she says before they take off is like, have you been out there? Have you had to kill anything before? Have you ever had to kill anyone before? Like, am I alone here? And he was kind of like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And then she saw that and she was like, oh, I might actually be taken care of. Like, it was like this moment of like, oh, he really can do something. There were definitely a lot of things to appreciate, and I love the cinematic green, super rainy shot that kind of reveals the vine infested, overtaken cityscape, which looks like the cover of, the game, basically, to me. Just fire, absolute fire. The homage, the style, the swagger, the attention to detail, the acting. I have no notes. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video. It helps other people find it. I will be reacting to every episode that we get to watch. And yeah, if you like random react and gaming videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it a bunch. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!